Hudson County View live at Uncut. I'm the guy that lifts barbell plates, eats T-bone steaks, and still has a demeanor that's sweeter than a chocolate cake, John Arhitis. And of course, we're going to talk the latest and greatest in Hudson County news. So there's quite a bit happening over in the Mile Square City. First of all, we saw Mayor Ravi Bala come out in a letter to parents yesterday saying that a local soccer club owes the city $76,000, and that's in fees for the field. And we're going to explain to you what that means and what the soccer club president, who actually is a former city director, has to say about this situation. Now, also in Hoboken, we have a candidate that is announced in the first ward. He's actually the chairman of the Red Leveling Board over there in the Mile Square. So we're going to talk about what this matchup looks like when it's him against Paul Presenzano. And we're going to talk a little bit what's going on in terms of campaign finance. We saw that Craig Guy, a candidate for Hudson County Executive, has raised $891,000. So we're going to talk to you about who's donating and what he's spending on. And so we're going to touch into some of those, heart of some of those matters as well. And while we're on the topic of the county elections, that's coming right up. That's June 6th for the Democratic primaries. Today, I'm joined with actually a Hudson County Commissioner candidate. He's running in the 9th District, which is largely based in West Hudson. That's Alex Valdez, and he's going to be challenging an incumbent. So we're going to talk about all that and a whole lot more right after this word from our sponsors.
Stevens Jersey City Ford Certified Parts and Service, located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Byrne Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Byrne Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Byrne Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View live at Uncut. As I mentioned a few moments ago, I'm John Arhitis, and today I'm joined with Hudson County District 9 Commissioner candidate Alex Valdez. Alex, thanks for coming in. Thanks for having me, John. All right, so obviously, whether it's me or the Jersey Journal or really anyone else at J Advance Media, you don't see a whole lot of talk about West Hudson. So I know this is a place you called home for a while. I know you've ran for council, school board, and you took a break, and now you're back. So just tell us a little bit about why you wanted to get involved again and what you're seeing and hearing over there on, on the other side of 1 and 9.
Yeah. Well, I think, why does anyone really do anything, right? It's for your family, it's for the people that you know, and for the experiences that you have day to day. And so, when I sort of took a break to build out my career outside of politics and working in humanitarian aid and educational nonprofits, I decided I want to come back and see where I can make an impact in politics. And I saw a huge gap in the services that we're getting in West Hudson. I'll speak to just a few, but the topic of pedestrian safety is a really hot one in North Hudson, in Jersey City, in Hoboken. But we don't really have a lot of that talk, even though we have known dangerous intersections on county roads. And those are the sorts of things that I want to address.
What are the roads we're talking about over there?
Sorry?
What are the roads that we're talking about in Kearney and East Newark, Harrison? What do you think they could use improvement over there?
Certainly Schuyler Ave is a very dangerous road. I mean, Passaic Ave is another. I'll speak to those independently. Schuyler Ave is a road where if you talk to any resident who lives on that road, they'll tell you just how fast folks are going. And they'll tell you just how dangerous it is for their kids to be trying to get to the park from that road. I talk to parents who live just off of Schuyler Ave who have kids whose friends live on Schuyler Ave. Mm-hmm. And they won't let them go to that house to play because of how dangerous that road is. There's no real high visibility intersections, even though people are regularly going 15 miles over the speed limit on this road. On Passaic Ave, you have a beautiful opportunity for bike lanes. District 9 is one that has oftentimes been left behind in this discussion of bike lanes. It's one that we really need to get to because when you look at Kearney, East Newark, Harrison, we don't have a single mile of bike lane on any of our roads, much less our county roads.
Okay. Now, as you know, I've interviewed several of your running mates, and we've talked about rapid bus transit. So you think that's something that could work over there, or something that you would be in support of?
Well, it's difficult to implement on our side of the Hackensack, but what else, and that's because of, frankly, the size of our county roads. These are all sort of 2-lane roads. It's a little difficult to make it happen there. Where it relates to my portions of the district that stretch into Jersey City, absolutely I'm in favor of this on JFK. I mean, it's a sort of I think something that we all agree on, or anybody that's been to the Safe Streets forums, anyone that's actually been active in this pedestrian safety movement is all in agreement on, but for some reason hasn't been getting done. There's no reason we couldn't have additional dedicated bus lanes. There's no reason we couldn't have this sort of technology that allows buses to communicate with traffic lights so that buses are running more frequently. Those are the sorts of changes that are going to increase the rider experience and incentivize ridership.
All right, and on this topic, as you know, there's been a lot of discussion recently about more NJ Transit buses and more path cars. And, of course, you have that path station over in Harrison, and, gets a heck of a lot of traffic. So is this something you've also considered that, could be viable for constituency? Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. Certainly, we need additional capacity on our path lines. If you go between the hours of 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. at the Harrison Street platform, platform, it's a mess. There's a lot of people trying to get on these trains. So that expansion is absolutely key. But what I'll say is that we also need additional public transit options for the rest of West Hudson. Because, let me put it to you this way, we have an area of about close to 60,000 residents who are serviced by 3 NJ Transit bus lines. If you ask me, that's a public transit desert. Those are the kinds of places where folks aren't even able to get to the path station to begin with using public transit. So we have to partner with NJ Transit to make sure that they're meeting residents' needs. And if they can't, can we make use of grants that other counties have made use of to add additional shuttle lines to our main streets in West Hudson, like Kearney Ave, Frankie Rogers, et cetera?
Okay. So on the politics end for a moment, so something that you don't see that often in these kind of races is that you actually had the fundraising edge over the incumbent on this one, and not a terribly close one either, about 2-1. So, were you expecting that? I mean, where do you attribute this groundswell of support?
I think that it's something that, listen, I'm a political newbie. It's not something I can sort of speak to very intelligently. What I'll tell you is I think that we have run into a lot of residents, even folks outside the district within Hudson County, who feel very supportive about what we're advocating for here, right? They feel the affordability crisis. They feel the pedestrian safety crisis. And that's the sort of things that gets folks to want to give to a movement that is advocating for these things. On the other side of the coin, I think that there's a degree of maybe apathy, or maybe kind of an assumption around who will be the winner. And so I'm not sure that there's as much activity on the other side, because there's a huge built-in advantage. Mr. Cifelli has really wide name recognition, and it's really, really, a big hill to climb. So I could see why maybe they wouldn't be as active on that side.
Understandable. Alex, don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're just going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Not everyone celebrates the birth of a baby. You have options. Don't panic. New Jersey has safe havens for unwanted infants. Leave the baby with staff at any hospital, ER, police or fire station, or rescue squad. Call the number on your screen for safe haven locations or go to www.njsafehaven.org. No shame, no blame, no names. Safe Haven.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut. John Arhitis, and I'm still here with Hudson County Commissioner candidate Alex Valdez. He's running in the West Hudson Heavy 9th District. So let's get back to the policy end. So if you are elected and you do get a chance to sit on the days for the county in the new year, what would you like to introduce in a resolution or ordinance for your district in the early going?
Yeah, in the early going, of course, we want to transform some of the county roads that we discussed previously. So specifically around the intersections of Schuyler and Spruce, but extending to other intersections as well, where I think we need high visibility alongside the county roads where they meet parks. But moreover, beyond that, I'd love to, again, advocate for and push for the community land trust that you have probably heard from some of my colleagues previously. And then, of course, adding additional public transit options. As I mentioned before, that West Hudson Shuttle, I'll repeat them just because they are really a priority for me. Those are the sorts of things that are going to create a more walkable, beautiful community in West Hudson, more beautiful than it already is.
All right, so that community land trust, as you mentioned, yes, we've spoke about it before, but still, I'd like to hear your perspective and how this could get more affordable units up in your district in the next decade or so. Like, how would this work?
Sure. So the community land trust would be established by the county and would work to create these additional nonprofit units. And the nonprofit units would not just be for rents for the folks that are the working class families that are making use of them, but it would also be up for purchase and ownership over time that creates a sort of economic mobility that we know home ownership creates. It's an opportunity to create wealth intergenerationally for families that wouldn't otherwise have that opportunity.
Okay. Now, when you're hitting doors and you're talking to potential voters, is your biggest message that it's time for a change, or are you just kind of like sitting and listening, hearing their concern, a little bit of everything? Like, how would you characterize that?
Well, I'd sort of characterize it as the sort of big listening tour, right? If I'm lucky enough to be elected, I think this is where it begins, prior to the election, and listening to folks and their needs at their doors. And when you give folks the opportunity, they will tell you. They will tell you what it is that they need. Of course, it's difficult to participate in Hudson County Board of Commissioner meetings. A lot of them take place during the day when people are at work, and so the best way to get understanding of what folks need is at their door, hearing them, hearing what's important to them and their families. And I'd say that that's sort of one of the best things about this race. Okay,
great. Now, the other thing is, like, obviously we talked a lot about public transit and affordability, bike lanes. I mean, is there anything else you're hearing at the doors that maybe we didn't touch on yet?
I mean, for sure, it depends on who it is that you are talking to. So there's a variability depending on who it is that you're speaking to. But one of the things that I hear folks bring up all the time is education. And we want to make sure that our educators have an opportunity to continue to afford to live in our county. There's a teacher shortage across the state, so we have to get creative about how we're going to make sure that we attract the best and brightest teachers and the teachers that we need. I hear horror stories from friends of mine who are teaching in public schools in my district who, when they have someone absent in their grade, they just have to absorb their classroom, end up with a classroom of over 40 students to one teacher. That's dangerous. It's not even possible to educate that many kids at one time at that age group. Those are the sorts of things that I hope to address. Secondly, I'd say one of the things that comes up is also just government transparency. I think in Hudson County for a long time there's been a political culture that residents have picked up on that is, I think, rightly earned in some ways, of a corrupt or shadowy government that isn't really responsive to its people. And I think what people want that's above everything else, that sort of helps address all of the policy areas that we've talked about, is a government that will listen and a government that will be accountable to them.
So we're talking greater transparency. Obviously, pretty much any candidate anywhere always says that. Now, like you said, there's reason for that to desire to be felt for candidates today here in Hudson. So what would you like to do on that level to try to make it more open to the public, so on and so forth?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, a redesign of the county website to make sure that folks can actually see where their tax dollars are being spent in a way that is easy to read, in a way that actually connects dollars to outcomes. But secondly, I think that our residents are looking for a candidate, looking for an elected official who's going to say no to wasteful expenditures that are, jacking up their tax bill. And that could be patronage jobs, and something as simple as saying no to patronage jobs that we find at the county level is the sorts of things that our residents are looking for.
Okay. And anything else? Any closing thoughts today?
Oh, I mean, just really excited that you've given me the chance to be here, John, because to your point earlier, I think West Hudson, Secaucus, Kearney, East Newark, Harrison, for a long time have been a part of our county that has been ignored to some extent in sort of the political realm, but I think also on the policy realm. I'm hoping that this is a sort of candidacy that can get folks to pay attention to this race, and by extension, win or lose, get folks to pay attention to the needs of District 9.
Alex, thank you very much for joining me. Best of luck. We'll be talking. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
This thing rips! Oh, it is so quick. There's a lot of punch packed into this Bronco Sport. It's got a ton of horsepower. I love it. All right, now we're getting here. Now we're getting the fun stuff. Yeah. I like how we can get over or around almost anything.
Yeah, I dig your ride. Super dig it. It's gonna be a good day.
Growing up can be tough on kids. So much is going on in the world that can cause depression or anxiety. Unusual behavior for more than 6 months could mean they need help. Don't wait. For real-time mental health support and counseling, call New Jersey's Children's System of Care. CSOC offers free mental health supports, substance use treatment, and services for intellectual or developmental disabilities for all kids up to age 21. Call now, 1-877-652-7624.
Introducing the all-new Ford Maverick. A truck for people who do stuff. And people who make stuff. People like Gabrielle Union.
I make this look good, don't I?
Who haul whatever they want to wherever they want. Like wood to build things made of wood with. And friends to get weird with. It's for long trips that the standard hybrid engine with a targeted EPA estimated city fuel economy rating of 40 miles per gallon helps with. That an 8-inch touchscreen connects with. And any trip that this interior makes more comfortable. But we'll let Gabrielle tell you all about it.
Or I could just tell them it's a Ford truck that starts at less than $20,000 MSRP.
Yep, that works too. The all-new Ford Maverick, built to defy expectations.
Bring 150 around front, please. We designed the F-150 to be tough.
and we delivered on towing and payload like you'd expect. We also made it smart, starting with an available hybrid powertrain. This engine also allows you to use your truck as a high wattage generator. It's the kind of capability that a truck owner's really never had before.
Hudson County View live at Uncut, John, Our Highness. So first of all, some somber news, some really sad news actually. Let's talk a little bit about former longtime Jersey City Clerk Robert Byrne, who unfortunately passed away after a long illness on Friday. So, that's obviously not what you'd like to hear, but unfortunately that's where we're at. And he's someone that worked from the city between 1982 and 2020. So he's seen so many different mayors and was just a wealth of knowledge when it came to all things government and politics. So, let's hear a little bit about what Mayor Stephen Fulop said. And he said anyone who dealt with Jersey City over the last 30 years would have encountered Robert Byrne, and every single one of them would have left with a positive and memorable experience. For me, I have countless examples as he embraced me when I was an outside councilman first elected and taught me about government. He swore me in at midnight when I was first elected mayor of Jersey City. He was a self-designated counsel in my personal life as he lectured me countless times about the importance of family over politics, and he officiated my wedding at City Hall with Jacqueline. The most amazing thing is how close I felt to Robert, the same way thousands of people felt about him in Jersey City. His passing is a massive loss to Jersey City, as he embodied everything special about being born and raised in Jersey City. So, as you can see, this is someone that touched a lot of people in the government and political class. And, Fulop actually went on to say that Robert will join the ranks of the most significant in Jersey City history. Of course, that's not a small compliment. And the flags are flying half-staff in his honor this week over at City Hall. I think just about everyone would agree that that's well-deserved. Byrne became the city clerk in 1989, and he was just 29 years old at that time, and made it until 60 in 2020. And that's a career that spanned 9 mayors, including 3 acting mayors. And you guys might recall this interview with the Jersey Journal when he retired. They calculated that he'd attended more than 1,700 council sessions, 150 election day results, and signed over 50,000 marriage licenses during his time at City Hall. Talk about productivity. Obviously, we make a lot of jokes and we hear a lot of jokes about government workers, but Robert Byrne was a guy that clearly took this job seriously and was very good at it. So, not a whole heck of a lot else to say other than his visitation will be tomorrow. We're going to post those details online in short order. So, certainly our thoughts and prayers are with the Byrne family as they go through this difficult time. Now, getting back to just the regular nitty-gritty politics for a moment, we're going to talk about this whole Hoboken Soccer Club drama. So, long story short, Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala is claiming that a local soccer club owes the city over $76,000, to which the club president is also a former city director, says politics are at play. So, let's unpack that. So, in a letter to parents of the Hoboken City Football Club, Bala said the following. As it stands currently, HCFC has an outstanding balance of over $76,000 for reserved field space between March and June of this year. According to City Code Chapter 58, organizations with outstanding balances cannot reserve field space in the future. Despite numerous attempts over the past several months by the city to contact the leadership of HCFC regarding this balance, the city has not received payment or any other response. Now, given these unique circumstances and in an effort to avoid any disruption to the hundreds of families that participate in this organization, I directed our staff to allow the spring season to proceed uninterrupted. Now, obviously that's good news for the people that are paying for this. Obviously, for those of you that are familiar with the soccer club, it's a little pricey. It's a traveling soccer league that comes with cost, as any traveling sport would, but the uniforms are about $200 per person, and the team fees range anywhere from $975 to $1,400 a year. So, while it is a highly touted program that a lot of people in the Mile Square City and the surrounding area take advantage of, it's not cheap. So, with that said, the mayor actually took it a whole step further and mentioned that they're planning to seek a vendor to operate a traveling soccer program. So we'll see what happens there if they end up following through on that. And the whole thing that makes this situation pretty interesting is that the Hoboken City Football Club president is Leo Pellegrini, and I'm sure you guys know he was the city's director of Health and Human Services for 14 years until earlier this month when he resigned abruptly. And we've talked about subsequent actions by the city council. There is a contract with Matthew Boxer, who's now a partner at Lowenstein Sandler, but he's actually New Jersey's first comptroller as well. So they're investigating the circumstances of his departure. And there was also an $85,000 settlement that the law department has said in a memo is because of a unilateral contract that was granted by Pellegrini related to online dog licenses. Now, with all that context in mind, of course, Pellegrini responded, and this was actually in a text thread with parents, but we happened to get a copy of that message. And he said, unfortunately, for the first time in Hoboken's history, politics is now involved in Hoboken athletics. As you know, our registration process is for an entire year. For example, fall 2022, spring 2023. The city has decided to charge for field space. However, the fees were collected before implementing this new policy. I had explained this to Recreation that we are a local club providing a service and competition for Hoboken players. If the fee must be paid going forward, we would budget accordingly. I don't think it's fair for this additional this spring. And I asked city spokeswoman Marilyn Barr what the lacrosse team had paid recently, another nonprofit group, and also what the football club paid in the fall. She said the nonprofit Hoboken Lacrosse has successfully paid their invoice based on the rate for a nonprofit organization and usage of the field. The city has no public records that field space was paid for by the Hoboken City Football Club to the city of Hoboken for the fall season. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back.
Jersey City Ford certified parts and service located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
Byrne Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Byrne Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Byrne Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut, Chad Arhitis. So a few more before we call it a day. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on at the Jersey City Council. And you guys know that we've been talking for months about right to counsel. And this is something that the sponsors, and that's Councilman Yusuf Saleh, James Solomon, and Frank Educational Gilmore, who are now joined with Councilman at Large Daniel Rivera, in introducing this measure. They're reintroducing, I guess I should say. This was actually approved on first reading last month with development fees that was subsequently approved by the planning board. But because there's been substantial changes to both ordinances, they're actually going to more or less be starting from scratch here because it's back to first reading. Now, having said that, this is something that they believe are necessary for tenants in Jersey City because it would give them a guaranteed attorney or counsel in an eviction proceeding or anything else, really. So we actually heard from Hudson County Commissioner Bill O'Day, who has been more vocal about city issues recently. He's a long rumored candidate for mayor in 2025 already. But what he said in favor of right to counsel, which is a program that the county has already implemented in some capacity, and this is a little bit of what he said. The timeliness of it is critical. As you know, the county allocated $1 million as a pilot RTC program for the entire county that will expire in 2 years, and unlike the proposed ordinance, does not have a recurring revenue stream to support it. Equally important is the need to utilize revenue from the fees to provide rental assistance to qualified tenants also. Both the representation and assistance are important The latter could be enacted through your Affordable Housing Trust Fund Committee after adoption. He just said AHTF, but that's what he meant. Utilizing the current AHTF money for rental assistance sooner than later is also important. So let's see if his words resonate with the council. Like I just said, with the sponsor list being the way that it is, they really just need one more vote to get this thing over the finish line. Of course, again, it's only first reading, so we're going to be hearing a lot more about this in the coming weeks, perhaps even months. Let's see how long it drags out. Now, let's also talk about Craig Guy. As you guys know, he's the chief of staff to the outgoing, retiring Hudson County Executive Tom DeGees. And he's raised $891,209.13 to date, according to his May 8th campaign finance report. Obviously, that's a lot, and it's way more than his opponent, Elena Little, who to date has raised $20,097.39, according to her report filed on the same day. Some names here that have contributed thousands include State Senator Brian Stack, former Assemblyman Nick Stravellati, the Fund for Quality Leadership, Harrison, which is a super PAC linked to Mayor Stephen Fulop, Harrison Mayor James Fife, and the Jersey City Democratic Committee. I could go on. It was a very long report, 105 pages. And just very briefly before we go, I'd be remiss if I did not talk about Gregory Mallard. He's 35 years old and from Jersey City. He's charged with murder, weapons charges, desecration of human remains, hindering and tampering with physical evidence for this really unfortunate situation where the mother of his children and his ex-girlfriend, Norelis Mendoza, was found dead near the border of Jersey City and Bayonne at Route 440. So if you haven't heard, that's on HudsonCountyView.com. We're going to call it a week, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching Hudson Media Group. Follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.